Hello everybody, McFluffy Stuff here, and today I would like to bring to you two different Punchzerker guides. Now you may ask yourself, what's a Punchzerker? Well, Punchzerking is going through the Brawler tree. We're going to have two layouts here. The first one is going to be for newer players and players looking to play more cautiously. Our second build is going to be for those who just want to start punching things in the face. I will start off by saying two recommendations here for your class mods. One is the Berserker class mod, which allows you to have extra melee damage. Normally they increase some of your more useful skills that we'll be touching on, and it gives you bullet damage resistance. Very, very good. The resistance for bullets plus the reducing of all damage from just activating Berserk. It'll make you feel more impenetrable. It'll help keep you upright longer in those times where you are having to charge into battle. Will help you keep upright longer. The other one I don't have a picture for you sadly is the Atlas Pangolin, which gives you health regen. I basically just like it for the health regen. That's really about it. I do recommend the Berserker class mod overall, but it's up to you. If you find one or the other, that is fine. So without further ado, we're going to get into it here. The first build we're going to have is strictly for our cautious players. These are the people just starting to play the game, never really played a Borderlands. As you'll find out with Brick, he is a very squishy character. You'll be down a lot, and it's mostly because of Berserk. Berserk is a great skill because it does give you damage resistance, and it does allow you to regenerate health, but having to drop your guns for fists isn't always a great trade. Also, don't be afraid to use Berserk as a defensive mechanism. Hide behind a corner, activate it to heal up, get your guns out to get ready for a fight. So first, clearly, you gotta go into Berserk. Now first here, levels 6 through 10, we're gonna go into Harden. I like Harden because the extra life is huge. Berserk helps you regenerate that health, and at this point, you won't necessarily be crushing on your shields quite yet. For levels 11 through 15, I like Juggernaut. Killing an enemy gives you resistances to all damage. Notice how it doesn't say while berserking, just killing an enemy, so even in gunfights, you will be able to preserve yourself longer. Now for levels 16 through 20, I like to go Iron Fist. The extra melee damage is why you signed up to Berserk. You want to punch things. Notice too how this also just says your melee damage, not your Berserk damage. So your basic melee swing will deal extra damage. Your weapons that help you deal extra damage will also help you deal extra damage. Very good feeling. After Iron Fist, you gotta jam 5, so you're levels 21 to 25, into Sting like a bee. The dash is what makes his Berserk effective. Once you get the dash and your guy starts lunging a little bit, you're going to feel a big difference in your ability. I can't say enough good things about Sting like a bee. I honestly wish this was a first tier instead of a mid-tier tree, but that's fine. Now, 5, 10, 15, 25. So for 26 to 30, I recommend Short Fuse. Being able to berserk as often as possible, especially later in the games when the guys are dealing more damage, you're having a harder time dealing with them, is great. Again, you can use it defensively or offensively. It's great. After that, I honestly don't recommend going into Bloodsport. I love the fact that it does regenerate a percentage of your health, but as you can see, at rank 1, it only heals 2%. You're really not going to feel that, and when you max it out, it goes up to 10%. While 10% is a nice chunk, at the same time, you figure you have 2,000 health. You only get 200 back per kill. That's a joke. With the grenades flying around, the guns flying everywhere, I highly do not recommend Bloodsport. After going into Short Fuse, I actually like Endless Rage. The reason for that is at this point in the game, you should have a ton of health, you should have a nice shield, you should have a ton of resistances. So being able to Endless Rage longer is it feels good. It feels great. And then after Endless Rage, you should be about done with the game here. If you're not yet, I recommend starting to put your points into either Bash, because dazing enemies slows them down and cuts their accuracy down, which is huge, or into Safeguard, just to make yourself more of a tank. The reason for that is, once you hit playthrough 2, which is exactly where you should be now, the guys get a lot tougher. The damage becomes a lot more jarring. So being able to keep yourself upright for as long as you can is where you want to be. Now, as we said, we're going to have two guides here. We're going to jump into number 2 right away. This is more for the experienced players, people looking to play the game on a much harder difficulty level. This build will make Brick seem a lot harder to use. You're going to be downed a lot, even in playthrough 1. I still recommend the same 2 class mods, either the Berserker class mod or the Pangolin class mod, just to get that health gen. Of course, you got to go into your Berserk. Now here, we're not going to try to protect ourselves. We're just going to try to punch everything's face off. So for this more aggressive playstyle, we're going to have some split numbers. So for levels 6 through 10, I like 3 in Iron Fist, and I like 2 in Endless Rage. The reason for the split is the extra Berserk duration is nice early game here to try to regenerate you some health, and of course the extra melee damage is ridiculously huge. This is very important early on in the game, especially because we are trying just to focus on our fists. Now for 11 through 15 here, again, we keep it in Sting Like a Bee. Getting Sting Like a Bee this early will make your punch feel fantastic. If you actually have this, especially just with 1 skill point in it, the little bit of lunge you get is nice, but having a full lunge at level 15 will make you feel really, really powerful. After going into Sting Like a Bee, I either recommend going into Short Fuse or Heavy Handed. Here, because we're still fairly early in the game, I'm actually going to go Short Fuse again, just because I like being able to use my Berserk as often as possible. You want to get mad, you want to punch things. It feels good, it's satisfying. After the Short Fuse, you have 2 options here. You're either going to go into your Heavy Handed, because being able to increase your melee up by 60% damage is huge. And seeing here, killing an enemy greatly increases your melee damage. So you can shoot somebody with a shotgun, turn around, melee somebody, get some cheese kills that way. It does feel good. Or first, put your 2 into Iron Fist and your 3 into Berserk, or your Endless Rage, I mean. Normally, for me, after filling out the Short Fuse at level 20, I do like to go get my Endless Rage done, get my Iron Fist done, then go into Heavy Handed. That is just me, because here the Endless Rage is going to be very good for keeping you upright, speaking that we've gone into a tree that gives us literally no protections other than what Berserk gives us, and your punch. Now I will say this late in the game, Prize Fighter is no good. I just don't like Prize Fighter anyway. The extra money is cute. It's not necessary. Because you're just wanting to punch stuff here, we'll finally go into Bloodsport. So then you have 10% health regenerate. We'll cool down our Berserk. You'll get that 90+% melee damage, which is ridiculous. You got your Sting Like a Bee to lunge, and you have your Endless Rage. After that happens, I do recommend going into things like Hardened, because Hardened with Bloodsport can be okay. The more maximum health you have, the bigger that 10% is going to feel. They pair very well together. Now, between the first one that we showed you and the second one we talked about here, I do recommend more of the first tree or the first build, just because Brick doesn't have great survivability. Yes, the Berserk does reduce some damage and regenerates you some health, but at the same time, I just feel like he doesn't regenerate enough health, and he doesn't reduce enough things. Having to be in your opponent's face is going to continually get you barrel stuffed, which is not a good feeling. Though, the second tree is more fun because it is an over-the-top, overly aggressive playstyle that can be very satisfying when it works, but you have to get to the level where it indeed works. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed our Punchzerking guide. I hope it offered you a little insight. Again, don't forget to leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe for more content, and leave a comment down below if there's a change you would make to either one of my guides, or leave a comment down below if you think my guide was bad. With that said, thanks for watching. Peace.